Stop chasing. Look, this is Marcel, aka Honey Bunny Sunny, and you know I'm on a mission to make you some money. All right. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make tens of thousands of dollars using a little known swing trade strategy. Okay. There are many people on the internet that are showing different strategies to use, and some of them work, some of them don't work so much. However, this particular strategy has been proven over and over again by myself and many people in the Prosperity Collective. Okay? It happens consistently in a cycle. And if you're a 9-to-5er or somebody who just does not have a ton of time to manage trades, you might want to listen. Do me a favor and like this, okay? I will never gatekeep levels and information. Just don't gatekeep those likes, okay? Hit the like button. We're going to dive right into it. So I currently have Palantir pulled up. Now, before we get started into what the strategy is and how to trade it, you first need to get these two indicators on your trading view, okay? If you guys don't have trading view, make sure you get trading view. It works the most effectively there, okay? The two indicators that you're going to need to get are the Bollinger Bands and the Keltner channel, okay? Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels. All right, and if you guys are not taking notes, please make sure that you take notes on this. This is something that you're going to be able to do repeatedly and make money from, right? Typically, when you get some information on the internet, it's to suck you into something else. And not that we don't have a community that we do want you to be a part of, but in this video right here, you'll be able to take this and use it on your own. All right, come back and thank me later. So I have Palantir pulled up. And the first thing, like I said, that I want you guys to do is just go to this area right here, right? Top of your trading view where it says indicators, metrics, and strategies. You want to click on that. And in the search bar, you want to just simply type in Bollinger Band, Bollinger, right? Bollinger Bands. And then you want to click on Bollinger Bands. For Keltner channel, you want to type in Keltner, Keltner, right? Keltner channels. And then you just want to click on that. All right. When you click on that, you don't have to do anything to it. You can leave it exactly how it is. Okay. You don't have to make any adjustments to the size or anything like that. You know, for visibility purposes, if you do want to change the thickness or the color of the Bollinger Bands, you can do that by just simply, hovering over, Keltner channel. I'm hovering over Keltner channel right now and just going to settings, right? And when you go to settings, you can change the style, right? The upper, the bases, and the lower. The bases is just the middle. And you can make this thicker. You can change the color, all of that stuff, right? Change the color here, visibility, all of this stuff stays the same. The only thing that you need to change, like I said, for your purposes, is the color so that you can be able to identify it depending on what other, indicators that you may have on. But I highly recommend just cutting all other indicators off. The only one that you could keep on is the VWAP. The reason that I say that because the VWAP is, it's that net, right? It's the thing that divides uptrends from downtrends. So it is important to kind of understand where that's at. But what you'll find is that typically the VWAP is going to be around the center of the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels anyway. Okay? So let's get into exactly how you're going to make thousands of dollars consistently and give yourself a raise essentially by implementing this strategy. So this strategy basically is a theory that shows the movement of a stock, right? It shows that in 30 to 45-day cycles, stocks tend to have very similar predictable movements. A lot of times we're trying to catch a play intraday, which you can do based off of technicals, but sometimes that can be a little bit more high risk. It can be harder to predict. Usually when you have a broader look, right, a more macro look at something, it's easier to predict the proper direction because you have so much data and you also have so much time for that to take place. All right. So with this particular strategy, what we're looking for are two things, right? There's a few additional things, but the first two things that we're looking for are this. All right, we are looking for a stock to hug the extreme of the Bollinger Band, right? So when I say the extreme, I mean either the lower extreme of the Bollinger Band or the upper extreme of the Bollinger Band. Okay? If we can find a stock that is hugging the lower or the upper extreme of the Bollinger Band, we have just completed step one. All right? The next step is going to be for the Keltner channel, right? Which is yellow for me. It could be whatever color for you, but it's yellow for me. It's inside of the Bollinger Band. This one is not quite in there. I usually want to see both sides of the Keltner channel inside the Bollinger Band, right? And then we just completed step two. Now, with those two steps completed, there's still a few more things that we need to do to confirm that this indeed is a good move, okay? So typically, like I said, over the 30 to 45 day cycle, we are seeing stocks go from one extreme to the other, one extreme to the other, one extreme to the other, right? The last time that we saw, it hit an extreme was actually right here, and we saw it revert to the mean, right? So this was on January 2nd. It came right here, and then it reverted to the mean. I wouldn't have necessarily taken this because it was a bearish candle. So this could have continued to fall. I don't like to take risk on things like that. What you want to see is something like this, which is a reversal signal at the lower extreme of the Bollinger Band, Keltner channel inside of the Bollinger Band, right? Keltner channel inside of the Bollinger Band up here, all right? So that was on Friday, November 21st. Now, some people may have taken it right there, but again, you want to trade this the same way that you would take entries on any other trade. And if you've been watching my videos of studying, you would know that we typically want to see confirmation first. So we got the reversal signal at the lower extreme of the Bollinger Band. This next candle right here was confirmation. It was a bullish candle with a higher high and a higher low. Okay? So now let's count the days out. This is a simple practice, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It took 5 days, essentially a week, to revert to the mean. Okay? Now, this rule says that whenever a stock reverses at the extreme of the Bollinger Band and the Keltner channels are inside, it will eventually revert back to the mean. Eventually meaning within that 30 to 45 day cycle. Typically the plays, as you can see right here, take place in just a week. It's a very simple thing, right? So another way to look at it is, okay, we have the fear and greed index. There's extreme fear, there's extreme greed. Typically when the extreme fear kicks in, it reverts back to neutral at some point. When extreme greed kicks in, it reverts back to neutral. You can look at neutral as the center part of the Bollinger Band and the Keltner channel, which is also the mean, right? So we are looking at a mean reversion, right? A retracement to that mean is very likely to happen once it's rejected or bounced off of either the upper or lower extreme of the Bollinger Band. But remember, the Keltner channel must be inside of it, okay? So there's one forming right here on Palantir, which I'll show you in a second how I plan to play this. But let's go back here. We saw the reversal, we got the confirmation. It didn't take long to get there, okay? It went back to the mean. There's plenty of examples here, right? Virtually every time that it rejects off of an extreme level, it reverts back to the mean, close to, right? This particular movement is going to give you anywhere from 50 to 100+%, depending on how wide the Bollinger Band is, which brings me to my next point. When the Bollinger Bands are super skinny, that means that there's some sort of consolidation like we saw in this area right here, right? But over here, you're seeing bigger movements causing the Bollinger Bands to be wider, making room for bigger moves to either direction once it's reached the extreme, okay? So right here is a good opportunity. We see that it's pretty wide, right? The Bollinger Band is pretty wide here, and we're currently in a downtrend, right? Short-term downtrend, meaning that we're just bearish right now. but it is at the lower extreme of the Bollinger Band. The Keltner channel is not quite inside, but if we see this candle reverse or the next candle reverse, we will see that Keltner channel make its way inside the Bollinger Band. Okay? When that happens, we are really just waiting for a confirmation on the day. So when we get a reversal and then we get a confirmation of a higher high or a higher low on the day, then we can swing Palantir out for 30 days. Remember, like I said, to revert back to this mean area around 177, 178. That will be a beautiful play for possibly 100%. Okay? It just depends on how big that confirmation candle is, because sometimes the confirmation candle can make the move itself, meaning that this confirmation candle might go pretty close to the mean, not leaving a ton of room for the next move up. So we do want to be careful in exactly how big that confirmation candle is. Ideally, a confirmation around 172 would be perfect to let us know that this wants to come up to 177, 178. That'd be a nice, $5, $6 move that we can make plenty of money on. Okay, and the same would be the case for the upside. If this were sitting, up here at the upper extreme, we would be looking at some sort of rejection and then confirmation with a lower low and a lower high to then enter the next one into the mean reversion. Okay, so you always want to be, just be aware of that. Also, if something is sitting at the mean, it typically will consolidate for a little bit and then choose a direction, right? Because again, we're going from upper extreme to mean, from mean to lower extreme, from lower extreme to mean, from mean to upper extreme. And the way that we know which direction is simply just by following the candlestick patterns within that, but it's always going to take place like that over that period of time. All right. Again, if something has a full body bearish candle like this, I'm not really interested in getting into it. Again, I want to see a reversal pattern happening at the lower extreme or the upper extreme of the Bollinger Band. Again, with the Keltner channel sitting inside of it. Okay. Here's a bonus for you. All right. I'm gonna give you this bonus. This is something that I would normally just reserve for the group, but we have an order block about around 150. I don't think my order block is turned on right now. Let me see. Okay, the order block is having some issues, but the order block is sitting around 148, 150. You're not seeing it right now because for some reason it's not turning on. But if you get order block detector by Lux Algo, it's a great indicator to have on your chart. It's going to help you a lot with understanding like where institutions are getting in, where smart money is getting in, and where you should be following. Okay, so if we can come down to 148, 150 on Palantir, right? Say this doesn't work out and it comes down to 148, 150. That is a really good entry for long-term options. So leaps, right? Long-term anticipation securities. Okay, long-term anticipation equity securities. All right, that is what leaps stand for. And like I said, if we come to 148, 150 area, which is right around, this support area right here that we see support back in September, we saw support again in November. If it comes down to that level, we should see a strong bounce, and that would be a really good opportunity to get into leaps. That would also have the stock down more than 20%, which is prime for getting into leaps in, really good stocks like Palantir, Apple, things like that. Okay, so again, turn your order block detector on for that particular play. But again, we are currently watching for a reversal at the lower extreme of the Bollinger Band and waiting for the Keltner channel to peel inside of that. So we want to see this yellow thing inside of the Bollinger Band. Once we get that reversal and confirmation, again, it is time to swing it out for 30 days, right? Typically, it's going to take a week or two, maybe even less, to revert to the mean, but you want to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time for any sort of drawdown that things may face. You guys know that in this particular market, with the particular president that we do have, a lot of times there can be drawdown at any given moment because of something that somebody says or some news that comes out. So you always want to be prepared for that, right? And then you want to just make sure you keep your stop loss, below these lows, right? So if it breaks down below the lows, then that blows the play up. You don't want to lose a lot of money. You want to make sure that you're only taking a small loss if that's the case. But again, we're not entering right now. We are simply waiting for a reversal signal off of this and telling the channels to come inside, and then a bullish confirmation. Okay. And then I got to say this, y'all. This in no way is financial advice. I'm just a guy on the internet who's, had a few plays worked out over the years. And I'm sharing my journey and my experience for entertainment purposes only. All right. If it resonates with you, then, do what you need to do, but make sure that you always do your own homework and your own research and your own due diligence. All right. I appreciate you guys coming to the page. If this video was helpful, leave a comment, like, subscribe if you want to see more. Okay. Remember, invest smart, live free. I'll see you the next time.